Hello everybody and welcome to the True Love Talk channel. As you know, here we want to learn about human sexuality, love, life, family, and all of this from the point of view of the Catholic Church, especially what Pope John Paul II left. And because this is the series on the theology of the body, we are going to analyze the writings of the theology of the body. As you know, I am Elisa, and today we're going to have our fourth video on this series, and we're going to continue the topic it's not our fourth, it's our fifth video of this series, and we're going to continue the topic of the fourth video. The fourth video was the castration complex, and today we're going to analyze what happens when you apply this castration complex to each one of the sexes, because it affects femininity differently from how it affects masculinity. So, let's begin. So let's remember that the castration complex is all about how people understand themselves in modernity, right? Let's remember that in modernity, human beings are individuals, right? And we have three basic values: independence, freedom, and autonomy. And the thing is, these values, what they do is they make us feel that humanity is not enough, that being human is kind of shameful because we're not really lovable, we are not good enough, because we're interdependent, because we're finite creatures, because we cannot do it all, right? And then we need others and we need to relate to others. So the idea of these values is how to make yourself not so miserable, right? Not so shameful by needing no one, right? So you don't have to follow anyone's rules. That is autonomy. You can do whatever you want, however you want it. That is freedom. And you can be absolutely independent. Nobody helps you. Of course, we also know that especially that last thing is absurd, right? Independence is absolutely impossible, right? Because we cannot do it all. And the good part of being interdependent and of being able to create relationships with one another is that we are able to have everything without having or needing to do everything, right? So we don't have to be the best at everything to have everything we need. But since this is not good enough for the modern individual, we have given money, because money was there from a long time ago. But in modernity, money has a very big role because it's the way of claiming that we are independent, right? Sure, I am not an architect. I cannot build houses, but I bought my house, right? I paid an architect to make my house. So in the end, it's like I made my house. If you have all the money in the world, but there are no architects in the world and you are not an architect, you will not have a house, regardless of how much money you have. But the idea, right, or I don't know, it's almost like a myth, right? The myth that we tell ourselves in modernity is, oh no, yeah, you paid for it, it's absolutely yours. Nobody helped you. It's not that you depend on others. It's not that you have to be responsible for what you have to do in society and that others are responsible for what they do in society, so we all have everything. No, you did everything on your own. Nobody helped you. Nobody helped you, right? Anyway, because that is so, right? Because being human is so shameful, being finite, being interdependent is something that we don't like so much. The idea of having takes a central role in who we are. We will only be lovable, decent people if we have a lot of things, and therefore we're very materialistic. And we buy a lot of things, right? And everything has to be expensive, and it has to be of the best brands, and it has to be the top of the top of the top, because normal things are not good enough. Because having enough to to pay anything you need, right? Having good food, a good home, having good clothes, and having enough for anything that you need is just not good enough. You need more than that. You need to be able to have luxuries. And the more you have, the better person you are. The less shameful you are, the more lovable you are. And relationships are not about loving the other person or being gifts for the other person. They're all about, how do I show the other person that I am superior to them, right? We have to be better than the other. And it's basically a contest of superiority and who's better than. And this is going to be the core of the castration complex in both senses, in both sexes, I'm sorry. So when it comes to masculinity, right? One of the most important things is to make a lot of money, because only if you make a lot of money, you are a real man, a worthy man, a man worth respecting. If not, well, you're pretty much a pussy, right? And calling a person a pussy means, especially when it's a man, right? Calling a man a pussy is telling him, yeah, you lost your masculinity. Why? You are castrated. Why? Because you don't have as much money as we do. You don't possess as much as we do. You do not own as much as we do. So, of course, how can you call yourself a man, right? And when it comes to the relationship with women, men are supposed to be Casanovas, right? They are supposed to be these people who are permanently desiring and thinking about sex all the time. Okay? Basically, men are supposed to have less self-control than any other male in all of other animal species. Because think about it. When it comes to animals, males only want to have sex when women are in heat. Okay? Males only want to have sex when the females are in heat. But when it comes to humans, men always have to want to have sex. Always. So basically, a cow or a bull in this case has far more self-control than a normal human male. And it should be like that. And the human male should not think that it's okay to not want it, right? So he has to always want sex. The relationship with the woman is not the relationship with an equal, right? That person that compliments me and that with whom I can share life. It's actually a person to possess, right? So I have this woman that at my skills, right? Because I have money, because I have skills, because I am better than everyone else, I can possess, I can own her, right? And because, of course, there's no love, well, cheating is absolutely logical and normal because, I mean, what? You're not going to cheat when you can? What kind of pussy does that? Of course, you're not a real man if you are not violent toward the woman. And this is when toxic masculinity starts. Now, here's the problem with toxic masculinity. Masculinity is a way of being human. And because it is a way of being human, it is all about being there for the other person. Humanity is about being gifts for the other person, right? Of being able to create meaningful relationships of love, of respect, of being what the other person needs to be, and knowing ourselves in that relationship. But, and of course, normal masculinity, and healthy original masculinity is all about men being human, which includes the possibility of men being decent people, right? Non-violent, committed in relationships, kind, and helpful and normal humans, right? But here is not so much that, right? Toxic masculinity is all about how to be superior to everyone else, and especially women. How to be the person that is bigger, stronger, and so on. So in this case, masculinity becomes the like the same of violence, the same as violence. I'm sorry, right? It's all about the more violent you are, the more of a man you actually are. Which of course is actually the destruction and deformation of what masculinity really is. This is the moment when men stop being human and they start being monsters. But hey, better be a monster than a pussy. So yeah, please keep it up. And when it comes to women, this castration complex, it's pretty literal, right? In the sense that, yeah, women need and want to be castrated. We have developed a lot of contraception methods and women should use it. According to everyone else, especially feminists, right? Because this is what's going to guarantee women's rights. Contraception is what is going to allow you to be part of society and be equal to men. So here there are some troublesome ideas about it. Number one, that being a woman means being like men, right? We're supposed to be fighting for inclusion and femininity being worth as much as masculinity, and women being equals in dignity and rights to men. But when they tell us that we will be equal in dignity and rights to men as long, as we are masculine ourselves, right? As long as we have the same possibilities of being pregnant than a man has. And then and only then do we become the equal. We're not really being included, right? Femininity is not being included if maternity and fertility, our health, cannot be included. Because think about it. Contraception are methods, therapies, and more often than not, medication that is used to stop the normal functioning of the body. In this case, the reproductive system. But if you think about it, every time an organ is not functioning properly, that's when you can say that the person has a disease, right? Liver disease, the liver doesn't work. Lung disease, lungs don't work, right? But here is the only time in which medicine takes a normally functional organ, which is the woman's womb, and tells the woman that the best thing she can do for herself is to give up her health, to heal from her own health, because it is so awful that she can have children, right? So if human beings if the right to health is a basic human right, then contraception is actually a way in which women's rights are being violated. However, and funny enough, they tell us that is the absolute opposite, and this is how you really get your rights, right? And that creates and that this is associated with many other complicated ideas. The two worst ones being, number one, you need to castrate yourself as a woman because the resume, right, the curriculum vitae of a woman is worth half if she is a mother, right? If she can be a mother, if she's fertile, can we really think that she's worthy of having a job, of participating in society? No, she's supposed to only participate in society being a mom. So is this real? See, and here's the question. Is it real that women who are mothers cannot participate or should not be part of the workforce? Truth is no, right? If women are really included, then women who are mothers would have the same possibilities as women who are not mothers or any other kind of man, right? But we've created this society in which children equal poverty. So if you have children, it's because you want to be poor. And that's it. That's the end of the situation. It is not true that children produce poverty. What is true is that we have created a society in which we take away opportunities to women who have children. We don't give women who have children good economical circumstances, good working possibilities. So yeah, women who have children end up not having money, but not because children naturally make women unable to win money or to get the money. It's because, right? We have chosen that. But remember that to be a worthy human being, you need to be able to pay for everything you cannot do yourself, which is quite a lot. So, of course, if you a woman want to be a worthy human being, you need to castrate yourself and not have children so you can have all the money that you need to have to be someone. And also remember that men are your enemies, so you cannot count on men. And the idea of a life in which you share responsibilities with the man is not so good, right? You're not supposed to rely on any man ever. So of course you have to do this all on your own. And the second, so that is one of the very scary ideas that come with contraception. But the other very scary idea is the situation of women need to be available for sex all the time. Men are supposed, and this is a very, very wrong, and this is a very wrong lie, right? Men do not have the right to demand sex from women. And yet, women know that if he asks for sex and she doesn't give it, somebody else is going to, right? He's going to cheat on her. So she better get in line. And so sex stops being the way in which women, well, actually, the way in which both people show their love to become the entrance fee to see if you might classify for the relationship. Much like when you pay the entrance fee or the fee for the form to apply to a university, but it doesn't mean that you get in, right? Sometimes women have sex with men and they don't get the relationship they want. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have sex, you will definitely not have a relationship. If you have sex, you might have a chance, but it's not a sure thing, right? So women are enslaved like this. They are okay with being enslaved like this, to the point that actually it's women who continue the situation. Men did the bad thing of asking something that they don't have the right to ask. And women decided to say yes to that. And we haven't said no. So of course men think that that is a right that they have. And finally, what this does, both ideas, right? This idea of the castration complex, of not being worthy if you don't have money, of being finite and interdependent as a normal person, is actually shameful. What it does is it destroys femininity and masculinity. Because if femininity has nothing to do with our fertility and our ability to have children, then what is it about? Well, it's actually about wearing makeup, wearing skirts, and high heels. And that's it, right? It actually, if anyone points out that maybe there's something in the being of a woman that makes her different from the man, then feminists scream out in pain, because how dare you say that we are not absolutely identical? Because we're not. And it's great not to be identical. That is what makes us complementary. That is what gives society this amazing richness, right? All its possibilities. No. Men and women are exactly the same. The only different are very superficial, very vain circumstances that can honestly be paid for with a credit card. So yeah, the only difference is men wear Oxford shoes, women wear high heels. Both things that you can buy in a mall with a credit card. Men wear pants, women wear skirts. Still buying things. Men don't waste their money on makeup, women do. And that's it. That's the whole difference. So of course that is going to impair the possibility of being who we really are. That is why on the next video, we're going to talk about what femininity and masculinity are in their pure form, right? Before society, what we really are in essence, both men and women. And well, that's it for today. I'm very glad that you decided to stay until the end of the video. If you have any question, any comment, please write it in the comment section below. I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. And well, see you in a week. Have a nice day. Lots of blessings for everybody. Bye.